When attraction turns toxic, subtle signs you're losing yourself. Think back to the first time you felt that intense pull toward someone. The kind of attraction that makes your heart race, your mind spin, and every moment with them feel like it's lit from within. That heady mix of excitement and desire is universal, but it's also one of the most intoxicating experiences in human psychology. Attraction is powerful because it's more than just chemistry. It hijacks your brain's reward system, flooding it with dopamine, oxytocin, and adrenaline. Suddenly, every text, every glance, every laugh feels monumental. You replay their words in your mind. You analyze every smile. You find yourself craving even the smallest amount of attention from them. It's exhilarating and consuming. This early stage of attraction can feel magical, like a perfect bubble where the world narrows down to just you and them. But here's the catch. That intensity doesn't just amplify pleasure, it can also mask danger. The very chemicals that make you feel euphoric can cloud your judgment, making you overlook inconsistencies, small red flags, or behaviors that would normally trigger alarm bells. Have you ever noticed how, in the first few weeks or months of infatuation, you excuse actions that feel off? Maybe they cancel plans at the last minute, brush off your concerns, or make you feel slightly uneasy, but you dismiss it because the thrill of their attention is so addictive. That's no coincidence. Our brains are wired to prioritize reward, even at the cost of warning signals. The more intense the attraction, the more our emotional radar goes offline. At this stage, the allure is almost magnetic. You want to see them again, hear their voice, feel their presence. Your attention becomes a form of currency, and the desire to be near them can feel unavoidable. Yet paradoxically, the same intensity that draws you in can make you vulnerable to patterns that chip away at your confidence and sense of self. Understanding this dynamic is the first step in protecting yourself. Attraction isn't inherently dangerous, it's natural, beautiful, and thrilling. But when the intensity of early infatuation starts to overshadow your instincts, that's when subtle warning signs can slip by unnoticed. Recognizing the difference between genuine connection and the intoxicating pull of desire is crucial if you want to build relationships that are healthy and sustainable. Boundaries are the invisible lines that protect your values, your comfort, and your sense of self in any relationship. They're not walls. They're your personal guidelines, helping you navigate intimacy, attraction, and connection without losing yourself. But when attraction turns intense, these boundaries can start to blur, often without you even noticing. Healthy boundaries are simple in principle, but powerful in practice. They allow you to say no without guilt, express your needs clearly, and prioritize your well-being. They let you enjoy intimacy without sacrificing your values or comfort. When boundaries are respected, relationships thrive on mutual trust and respect. But when they begin to fade, small compromises can accumulate, and suddenly, your identity starts bending to fit someone else's expectations. So how do you know when you're starting to compromise too much? One sign is constant people-pleasing. You find yourself agreeing to things you want to do just to keep the other person happy or avoid conflict. Another red flag is diminishing time for your own passions, friends, or self-care. If your life is gradually revolving around someone else's desires, it's not just dedication, it's a warning that your boundaries are weakening. Over-accommodation often shows up subtly. You might stay silent when something bothers you, rationalize behavior that makes you uncomfortable, or downplay your needs to prevent tension. You might notice a creeping sense of resentment, guilt, or exhaustion, but dismiss it as normal relationship effort. Here's a simple test. Ask yourself, am I acting out of genuine choice or out of fear of losing their attention or approval? If fear drives your decisions, boundaries are already blurring. Attraction shouldn't feel like surrendering control over your life, should feel like sharing it willingly, on equal footing. Understanding these early warning signs is crucial because blurred boundaries often precede deeper emotional compromises. They set the stage for toxic patterns where your needs are secondary, and your sense of self can be eroded over time. Recognizing overaccommodation early allows you to reclaim control and recalibrate your relationship dynamics before resentment or emotional burnout sets in. Have you ever left a conversation feeling uncertain, questioning your own memory, perception, or even your sense of reality? If so, you may have experienced the subtle pull of emotional manipulation, one of the most common ways attraction can turn toxic. Emotional manipulation isn't always obvious. It rarely shows up as outright cruelty. Instead, it's often wrapped in charm, affection, or concern, making it nearly invisible at first. Manipulators leverage your trust and desire for connection to influence your behavior, erode your confidence, and sometimes bend your reality without you even realizing it. One of the most insidious forms of manipulation is gaslighting. Gaslighting is when someone subtly distorts facts, denies events, or makes you question your own feelings. You're overreacting, that never happened, or you're too sensitive. These phrases may seem harmless, but repeated over time, they chip away at your self-trust. When you're deeply attracted to someone, your brain naturally wants to give them the benefit of the doubt. That desire to maintain connection can override your instincts, making you vulnerable to manipulation. Small doubts grow into large uncertainties. Minor discomfort becomes chronic anxiety. And suddenly, you're defending your own reality instead of enjoying the relationship. Emotional manipulation thrives on subtlety. It can look like consistently prioritizing their feelings over yours, guilt-tripping you for setting boundaries or twisting events to make you feel responsible for their emotions. It can even be disguised as concern. I'm just trying to help you see the truth, when in reality, the truth they present serves only them. The danger is that over time you start doubting your own judgments, desires, and instincts. You may ask yourself, am I really too sensitive, or am I the problem? This is exactly what the manipulator wants. By undermining your self-trust, they gain control over your decisions and emotions. And attraction becomes a tool for control rather than mutual connection. Recognizing manipulation early is critical. Start by observing patterns, not isolated incidents. Ask yourself, are my feelings being dismissed? Do I feel confused or anxious after most interactions? Am I bending myself to avoid conflict or maintain approval? Awareness is your first line of defense against the subtle erosion of self. Have you ever noticed yourself changing subtly at first, and then more noticeably, just to fit someone else's expectations? Maybe you've stopped doing things you love, avoided friends, or silenced your own opinions. If so, this is one of the most dangerous signs that attraction has turned toxic. Losing your identity. Losing your identity doesn't happen overnight. It starts with small compromises. You might postpone a hobby to spend more time together. You might agree to things that make you uncomfortable, dismissing your feelings in favor of theirs. At first, it feels like a normal part of relationship growth. But slowly, these compromises add up. And you begin to prioritize the other person's desires over your own without even realizing it. Why does this happen? When attraction is intense, your brain is flooded with reward chemicals that make attention and approval feel addictive. Combined with blurred boundaries and subtle manipulation, this creates a perfect storm. You start reshaping yourself to maintain connection, often at the expense of your own needs and passions. Signs you're losing your identity include feeling guilty when you take time for yourself, constantly seeking approval or validation from your partner, and avoiding conflict even when your values are being compromised. I might notice a creeping sense of unease, a quiet dissatisfaction, or even resentment, but dismiss it because the relationship feels worth it. Another critical sign is disconnecting from friends and family. If you've started declining social invitations, skipping important events, or keeping parts of your life hidden to avoid conflict or judgment, it's not just social choice, it's a red flag. Healthy relationships encourage growth, independence, and mutual support. If you feel smaller or less yourself, the attraction may have shifted from connection to control. Reclaiming your identity starts with awareness. Notice where you've compromised your values. Recognize the patterns that erode your sense of self and take small steps to assert your needs and passions. Turning to the activities, friendships, and routines that make you feel alive is not selfish. It's essential. Attraction should enhance your life, not diminish it. Attraction can be intoxicating, but sometimes the things that draw us in most strongly are also the ones we overlook. Toxic patterns rarely arrive with flashing warning signs. More often, they hide in plain sight, disguised as charm, intensity, or excitement. These are the red flags in disguise. One of the most common is inconsistency. At first, it might seem mysterious or intriguing. Why does their mood change so quickly? Keeps me on my toes. But inconsistent attention, unpredictable reactions, or frequent changes in behavior are a subtle way to control your emotional state, keeping you seeking validation and approval. Another red flag is secrecy or evasiveness. While privacy is normal, chronic hiding of communication, social connections, or plans often signals a lack of transparency. When attraction is strong, we sometimes rationalize these behaviors as quirks or personality traits, but in reality, they can be manipulative tactics designed to limit your perspective. Dismissiveness and subtle devaluation are also warning signs. Does your partner frequently brush off your opinions, minimize your concerns, or make you feel guilty for expressing needs? These small, repeated patterns can erode self-esteem over time. Toxic attraction often wears a smile while chipping away at your confidence. Passive aggression is another hidden danger. Sarcastic remarks, backhanded compliments, or silent treatments are tools used to control, confuse, or provoke you while maintaining plausible deniability. Attraction may make you want to excuse or rationalize these behaviors, but recognizing them early is crucial for protecting your emotional well-being. Even intense passion can be a red flag. When it becomes overwhelming or one-sided, constant urgency, pressure to move the relationship faster than you're comfortable with, or exaggerated displays of affection can create emotional dependency. While it might feel flattering initially, intensity that ignores your boundaries is often a subtle form of control. Here's the key. Red flags are rarely obvious. They're subtle and they're easy to rationalize when you're deeply attracted. But the more patterns you recognize, whether inconsistency, secrecy, dismissiveness, passive aggression, or pressure, the clearer the picture becomes. Awareness allows you to separate charm from toxicity, excitement from manipulation, and attraction from control. Attraction can be powerful, but losing yourself in it is optional. Once you recognize subtle red flags, blurred boundaries, and patterns that chip away at your sense of self, the next step is reclaiming your identity and emotional power. This is where true freedom and healthy relationships begin. Reclaiming yourself starts with awareness. Take a moment to notice where you've been compromising your values, ignoring your needs, or silencing your instincts. Awareness isn't judgment, it's clarity. When you see these patterns for what they are, you can begin to make intentional choices rather than reactive ones. Next, start setting healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not about pushing someone away, they're about defining what's acceptable for you. Begin with small steps, declining a request that feels uncomfortable, taking time for your hobbies, or speaking up when a concern arises. Every boundary you set reinforces your self-respect and signals to others that your needs matter. Another essential step is reconnecting with your passions and support system. Toxic attraction often isolates you from friends, family, and activities that once energized you. Rebuilding these connections restores balance and reminds you that your life doesn't revolve around one person. It also strengthens your confidence, making you less susceptible to manipulation or approval-seeking behavior. Self-validation is equally important. Attraction can make you dependent on another person's attention for your self-worth. Reclaiming yourself means learning to recognize your own value without needing constant reassurance. Journaling, meditation, or affirmations can help you reconnect with your inner voice and rebuild emotional independence. Finally, reflect on the lessons learned. Ask yourself, what patterns do I want to avoid in the future? How can I honor my needs while still enjoying connection? By internalizing these lessons, you not only heal from past experiences, but you also cultivate the ability to attract relationships that are mutually respectful and fulfilling. Remember, reclaiming yourself is not about punishing someone else or cutting off attraction entirely. It's about creating a foundation of self-respect, clarity, and emotional mastery. When you operate from this place, you're free to engage in relationships from strength rather than neediness, curiosity rather than fear, and love rather than dependency. We've taken a journey together, exploring how attraction can shift from thrilling to toxic, often without us even noticing. From the heady intensity of infatuation to blurred boundaries, emotional manipulation, and losing touch with who we are. These patterns can quietly erode our sense of self. But awareness is power, and understanding these dynamics is the first step toward reclaiming it. The key lessons are clear. Recognize the subtle signs of over-accommodation, spot red flags even when they're disguised as charm or intensity, and never underestimate the importance of boundaries. Attraction should enhance your life, not consume it. Your needs, values, and passions are not optional. They are the foundation of healthy, sustainable relationships. Reclaiming your identity requires courage, reflection, and action. Set boundaries, reconnect with your passions, nurture friendships, and practice self-validation. Every small step you take toward honoring yourself strengthens your emotional resilience and protects you from patterns that can lead to heartbreak or dependency. Attraction should feel empowering, not depleting. Here's the most important insight. Your self-worth is internal. So no amount of attention, affection, or validation from someone else can replace the value you create by respecting yourself. Emotional mastery doesn't mean shutting off attraction. It means engaging with it from a place of strength, clarity, and choice. Now it's your turn to reflect. Are your relationships supporting your growth, or are they slowly eroding your identity? Are you pursuing connection or seeking validation? Awareness is your tool, boundaries are your armor, and self-respect is your compass. If this video resonated with you, I encourage you to take a moment to reflect on your own experiences. Consider the subtle signs you may have overlooked and ask yourself what changes could help you reclaim your sense of self. Like this video if you found it helpful, subscribe for more insights into relationship psychology, and share your thoughts in the comments because your story matters, and awareness is the first step to transformation. Remember this: being aware, setting boundaries, and honoring your identity isn't just about avoiding toxic attraction, it's about creating relationships that lift you up, inspire growth, and allow love to flourish without compromising who you are. Attraction can be beautiful, but your sense of self is priceless. Protect it, nurture it, and never lose sight of it.